On the day of my first show. It was a Friday night. And I was like, I gotta go. Like, I got a show. And the whole team was like, oh, he's like, Jayden's playing a show or whatever. And a couple of them came to that show after practice was over. And so I just, I think that I feel like I've done a good job of balancing music, baseball, and school because I've gotten good grades throughout really my whole school career, I guess you'd say.
Right.
And that, again, I'd have to probably thank my parents for I think they pushed me to an exact limit where I was able to do everything.
Right.
They didn't push me too far, but they didn't not push me to where I would fall behind in certain things.
Right.
But yeah, so as a freshman in college, I'm still going to try to balance that, and I think I could still make it work. So.
What school? I mean, because you started college under COVID.
Under COVID, yeah.
What's that like? Well, I guess it's not like you.
Well,
I mean, I think you have an idea of what the college experience should be.
Yes,
right?
yes. So my sister Madison actually goes to Cal Lutheran as well. She's a junior. And she's a junior in college, and so I've been on the campus plenty of times. Before I even knew I was really going to go to Cal Lutheran, I had a couple other schools in mind. But I ended up going to Cal Lutheran, and I think it's a good fit so far. But yeah, so it's just been Zoom meetings. Really I only go to campus to pick up maybe books from the student store or whatever. But I really honestly am in no rush to get back onto campus. I don't mind the virtual experience, especially because, I'm home. I'm able to be home, and then I would maybe work for my dad, for the rest of the day, and then I can play music as loud as I want in my garage. I know that once I go to college, unless I get into one of the practice rooms that they have there, I'm not going to be able to, jam out with my amp cranked in my garage like I usually do. I wouldn't be able to do that at college. I'd have to sit quietly on my dorm bed and just
Would you be in the dorm?
Yeah. I've once things pick back up, I'm probably going to move in. I mean, I'm in commuting distance.
Yeah.
So I could drive, but honestly, either way is fine with me.
If only you knew someone in the area with a soundproof room where you could turn up your amp.
Oh yeah,
really loud.
yeah.
Huh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting.
I'll keep my eyes out for you.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny you bring up baseball. I went out this morning. I go and play tennis, or I go play pickleball or something like that. And Scott Horn from the Jam, shout out Scott Horn, and he calls me up. He's like, dude, on Sunday mornings, at 9:30, we me and 5 guys, we get together and just it's did you grow up playing baseball? I'm like, yeah, I played baseball, and he's like, we have baseball practice. I'm like, you have baseball practice? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I love baseball practice.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you do infield drills and fly balls and batting? He's like, yeah, we do all that. I'm like, I'm there. And
Yeah.
I went there today to the Sycamore baseball field here just in town. And we we ran infield drills and outfield drills,
Yeah.
and I did batting practice. And on the last pitch that I was given, I hit a home run.
Oh, nice.
And I was so stoked.
Yeah.
That was never not fun.
Yeah. It's actually funny you bring that up. Me, I got about 3 or 4 core friends, in my friend group.
Yeah.
And growing up, I always kind of disliked baseball practice, especially as a catcher. You're catching bullpens and you have all the gear on, you get all hot and sweaty and that kind of thing. And growing up, it wasn't really my favorite thing, but especially when COVID hit, it was any chance to go out and practice was a lifesaver.
Right.
I really enjoyed it. And so, especially in the past month, leading up to baseball tryouts, I've been going to the field almost every day with my buddies, and I'll catch their bullpens. We'll take batting practice, and it's been nice to get out there and to be able to enjoy practicing. And I mean, I can relate this to music as well. To be able to enjoy practicing, not only are you getting better at your craft, but you're having a good time doing it, it's really key. It's I know people will say if you're finding a job, you need to find something you're passionate about because, then it won't feel like you're working. And I think that's really true. And I shouldn't say that you should limit yourself to stuff that you only enjoy because, it does come to a point where you need to, get stuff done, but I really do think that it's true that if you find something you're passionate about, then you won't work a day in your life, So I remember kind of going back to middle school band. I was telling you I didn't take, trombone as seriously as I think I should have. I would practice guitar. I would practice guitar a lot more than I did trombone, and I would notice it. And we had these practice sheets that you would have to fill out every week and get them signed by your parents. And it was like, let's say I did 30 minutes on Monday. That 30 minutes with trombone would be like, it felt like 2 hours, Right. But then if you do 30 minutes with guitar, it felt like 2 minutes just went by. Yep. And that's, I think, where I kind of found where my passion was, was like, I can do this forever, and I couldn't get bored. And, I think I really found my passion for guitar through that.
I'll do that. Still to this day, I just come in here to go play drums, and I'll just I'll record some stuff. I've got a bunch of different friends that we're doing lots of just send files back and forth recordings, and I'll come in here and I usually set my watch, because I'd put the run tracker on it because that's basically it's similar to what you do drumming. And I'll look down and I'll be done. I'll be like, oh, I probably played 10, 12 minutes there. I'll look down and it says 53 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
What? Wow.
Yeah.
And I come out and Zena will be like, oh, did you have fun playing? I'm like, yeah, I played a lot longer than I thought I did.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, you've been gone about an hour. I'm like, I did not think that. And she's like, well, you must have been having fun.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is I see a lot of people take for guitar for example. People are like, I just hate practicing scales. I just wanna play guitar, right? Which is awesome. But I find a kind of zen and joy in practicing scales because.
Absolutely.
If you think about the future effects that you have on it, it's like I'm doing this to better myself, and I know that if I do this now, that I'm going to be better in the future.
Totally.
And when you have that mindset that like I could be really good if I do this, then it's like practicing is no problem,
Yeah.
And I think that if I had that mindset maybe in middle school, then I would probably be a trombone player. So. Yeah, I think it's a lot. Music especially is all about mindset. When you're playing, when you're practicing, you have to have that drive to want to get better.
The whole time you grew up playing baseball, I bet as a catcher they probably had the cushions for behind your knees.
Oh yeah, knee savers. Yes, and
did you ever play as a catcher without knee savers?
Yes. So when about 8th grade Little League, I had played Little League all through when I was growing up in Vegas, and then we moved to Ventura, and for that 7th and 8th grade when we did Little League, I was like, I probably need to ditch the knee savers because I was just like, I think I shouldn't be using them because I would watch pro baseball, nobody was using them, besides very select few guys, and even though
it's just the age difference,
it was just an age difference, I think. And wearing the knee savers, I don't think made you a better or worse catcher. I think it's just preference, kind of,
Totally.
But when I got into high school, it was really kind of the thing where it was like I shouldn't be wearing knee savers, and so I stopped then, and I think that it kind of helped me out a little bit.
Really?
It made me focus a little bit more because I wouldn't maybe fall when I'm in the crouch position, waiting for a pitch. I wouldn't maybe fall asleep, or if there's a runner on base, I wouldn't be falling asleep on my knees, I would be more in an athletic position, as they would call it.
Well, your quads are already engaged because you're holding.
Oh yeah,
yourself
yeah.
And instead of letting the knee
and so
you don't have to activate.
Exactly. I had found that without the knee savers, I was a little bit more focused on what I was doing, and I think it made me a little bit more aware of if I need to drop down to block or if I need to throw somebody out that's running. Yeah,
well, you might even because even if you know what's going on, the pitch is coming in and you see that someone's moving, you'll already adjust or drop a knee
exactly
to get prepped for a throw, even if you're going to do it from one knee or something.
Yeah. It's like I said, it's just I think it's preference, and like I said, there's pro players that use knee savers that are really good. I mean, they're playing in the major leagues. Of course, they're good.
Yeah.
And when it really comes down to it, I think it's just preference, of feeling. If you're able to be prepared with the knee savers, then go for it. It's great. So
I don't know if I ever talked to you about this, but I coached fast pitch softball for years.
Oh, awesome!
And
Awesome.
I coached ASA, between ASA Gold, between 12 and 16U teams. I was the assistant coach from Villanova University my senior year there. I coached the Spanish team when I lived in Spain
awesome.
for a year. And I loved coaching. It was great.
Yeah.
I grew up playing baseball, but I loved the strategy of fast pitch softball was so awesome because especially when you get up to 16U or you're talking college ball, you're talking about full-grown adults that are really strong playing on a little league size field.
Yeah.
And the speed at which things happen and the very small margins for error, especially third base play or play between the pitcher and shortstop and third base, what happens during those times and the amount of time you have to make a decision and a throw to say get someone at first or how much more difficult it is to pull off a double play.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff.
It's definitely
wild.
I know I always hear it all the time of people say, baseball is boring to watch. And I obviously strongly disagree with them. I think it's very intense, And, sure, you have times where, if the pitcher's getting it signed from the catcher, everybody's just kind of standing there.
Yes.
And I shouldn't say just standing there, but, to the viewer, nobody's doing anything. And it's different from, let's say if you were watching hockey where puck is just going all over the place. People are hitting each other, But when it comes down to it, it's just it's a super fast-paced chess match, if you think about it. You got to figure out how long am I going to throw my pitcher before I put in a reliever? Am I going to pinch hit somebody for right here? Are we going to try to turn a double play, or are we going to try to get the runner at first and and risk it? Exactly. And when you think about it in that aspect, it's a totally different ballgame. No pun intended, but
Well, I think it's because for you and I to know all of that nuance and complexity and the story that's going on that's unsaid, it most likely requires that you played for a while, and that you played at a decently competitive level, to really understand all that. And not everybody gets to do that. And so for the average viewer, if I just take a friend to Dodger Stadium and they don't really know baseball, it's really boring for them.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "Oh, this is a fun experience. It's cool to see the stadium. And it's cool to have sit in the stands and have a beer or something like that. And get a Dodger dog." And that's their experience is more about what did we talk about while we were sitting there, not the game.
Yeah.
But for those casual fans, I can see something like hockey is definitely
right.
I think hockey is the best sport to see live.
Oh, definitely.
It's awesome.
When we lived in Vegas, there was it was the ECHL, which is basically kind of like a minor league, like AAA teams. And there was a minor league hockey team there that played at the New Orleans hotel. They had an arena with an ice rink, and they were called the Las Vegas Wranglers. And we watched them every week. We would go, even if it was on a Wednesday night. We would go, and
so fun.
it was so fun, and being able to be up on the glass and just banging on it. Yeah. It was a really awesome experience.
And it's the stadium's only 10 rows deep.
Exactly. Yeah, it was hockey is an awesome. I mean, me and my family still watch hockey. And we, even though we're living in California, we rep the Vegas Golden Knights that are a fairly new hockey team.
You were so stoked when they won right out of the gate. You must have been so stoked.
Yeah, they made it to the finals, and it was, really.
They got the game 7, right?
Yeah.
Game 6 or 7 of the finals, right?
Yeah,
Who did they lose to? Was the
I think it was the Blues. It was the Blues last year or the year before. I can't remember. It feels so long ago for some reason.
I want to say it was the Predators or it was the Lightning. No, because the Lightning was a while since they've won. They just won this last one.
The Capitals. I think they lost to the Capitals in one of them. Which Capitals are an insane team.
Yes.
But yeah, so I
grew up a Flyers fan. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I think there always is going to be a bias with people in their sports of what they grew up playing is going to be their favorite sport, which is a reasonable argument to have, and they'll be more invested than somebody who didn't play. Like for instance, if you took me to like a tennis match, I'll watch tennis and I know what's going on, but like to somebody who maybe played tennis.